Tommy's nickname for Heberturn, a point on the British line. Adjutant, the name given to an officer who helps the colonel do something. He rides a horse, and you see him at guard mounting and battalion parade. ADMS, the Assistant Director of Medical Service. Have never seen him, but he is supposed to help the DMS and pass on cases where Tommy is posted as unfit for trench service. Aerial torpedo, a kind of trench mortar shell guaranteed by the makers to break up Fritz's supper of sausages and beer, even though said supper is in a dugout 30 feet down. Sometimes it lives up to its reputation. Alarm, a signal given in the trenches that the enemy is about to attack, frequently false. It is mainly used to break up Tommy's dreams of home. All-around traverse, a machine gun so placed that its fire can be turned in any direction. Allemand, a French term meaning German. Tommy uses it because he thinks it is a swear word. Allotment, a certain sum Tommy allows to his family. Allumettes, French term for what they sell to Tommy as matches, the sulphurous fumes from which have been known to gas a whole platoon. Ammo, rifle ammunition, used to add weight to Tommy's belt. He carries 120 rounds at all times, except when he buries it under the straw in his billet before going on a route march. In the trenches he expends it in the direction of Berlin. Ammo depot, a place where ammunition is stored. It is especially useful in making enemy airmen waste bombs trying to hit it. Ammonal, a high explosive used in the Mills bomb. The Germans are more able than Tommy to discourse on its effects. Any complaints? A useless question asked by an inspecting officer when he makes the rounds of billets or Tommy's meals. A complaining Tommy generally lands on the crime sheet. It is only recruits who complain. The old men just sigh with disgust. AOC, the Army Ordnance Corps, a department which deals out supplies to the troops. Its chief asset is the returning of requisitions because a comma is misplaced. APM, Assistant Provost Marshal, an officer at the head of the military police. His headquarters are generally out of reach of the enemy's guns. His chief duties are to ride around in a motor car and wear a red band around his cap. Après la guerre means after the war, Tommy's definition of heaven. ASC, Army Service Corps, or Army Safety Corps as Tommy calls it, the members of which bring up supplies to the rear of the line. Back of the line, any place behind the firing line out of range of enemy guns. Bailer, a scoop affair for bailing out water from the trenches and dugouts. As the trenches generally drain the surrounding landscape, the sun has to be appealed to before the job is completed. Bantams, men under the standard Army height of 5 feet 3 inches. They are in a separate organization called the Bantam Battalion, and although undersized, have the opinion that they can lick the whole German army. Barbed wire, a lot of prickly wire entwined around stakes driven in front of the trenches. This obstruction is supposed to prevent the Germans from taking lodgings in your dugouts. It also affords the enemy artillery rare sport trying to blow it up. Barndook, Tommy's nickname for his rifle. He uses it because it is harder to say and spell than rifle. Barrage, concentrated shell fire on a sector of the German line. In the early days of the war, when ammunition was defective, it often landed on Tommy himself. Barricade, an obstruction of sandbags to impede the enemy's traffic into your trench. You build it up, and he promptly knocks it down, so what's the use? Bashed in, smashed by a shell, generally applied to a trench or dugout. Batman,